Today, I am going to give you a strategy that will make sure that you always can find affordable housing. This is according to Amber. Hey everybody, welcome to According to Amber. You know, there has been a lot in the news as of late regarding affordable housing. And as a person who's dedicated her life to making housing affordable for her clients, this discussion makes me crazy because the media attributes the problems to rising construction costs, interest rates, and wages. And while all of that is true, last time I checked, none of that is within my control. So today, we're going to focus on a piece of the market we can control. But before we get into our discussion, I would like to offer my definition of affordable housing. To me, affordable housing means finding something that meets your living needs at a price that gives you a payment that you can afford. When you have a limited number of houses available for sale, it sometimes is hard to find that perfect blend of need, price, and payment. And so you may get discouraged and think, oh, I've got to give something up. But maybe it doesn't mean that. So enter the term, you've all heard it, fixer-upper. My focus today is using this strategy for a home you intend to occupy, not necessarily a property flip. And I'm excited today to be joined by Holly Dance, who is a real estate agent for Ascent Realty. She is a top producing agent who understands how to navigate and negotiate the best outcomes for her clients. And so I've asked her to come and help us out today because, believe it or not every agent is focused on what you can afford. Sometimes agents focused a little too much on what you can qualify for, than that whole affordability conversation. And so today I want to really focus on the affordability conversation, and then also as it relates to fixer-uppers. Okay? So let's just kind of start with our first question here today. And so Holly, tell me, when you have a client that comes in and says, hey, we want to buy a fixer-upper, what goes through your mind?
Well, in this market, we have to be a little creative, right? Like, houses are going quick and there's not a ton of houses on the market. So clients may come to me and say, I want all these things, but we've got to be creative in what they're looking for and how they're going to find it. So if they're willing to do a little bit of work and have some money to do a little bit of work, which is what I'm excited we're going to talk about this today, then it's great if they say, I want a kitchen with white cabinets. We can find a house that needs to be fixed up and they can get everything they want.
Well, and isn't it true also that when homes are listed on the MLS, sometimes they are designated as not move-in ready? Like sometimes as an agent, you know going into it that it's going to be a bit of a fixer-upper. And then sometimes it's a bit of a surprise, right?
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, on the listing, you'll see the remarks, needs a little TLC, or could use a little love, or one owner, never been updated.
Yes.
You think, okay, this could use a little something. So
good. Well, what I want to give our audience today are basically 5 questions or 5 things that they can mentally prepare for to make sure that this fixer-upper strategy is the way to go. And let me really quickly identify what that strategy is. What my thought is that a lot of times people come in and they get qualified for a certain amount of money, but then you go out into that marketplace and it's hard to find a home that meets the criteria you want for that money because it needs a little TLC. So what my suggestion is to kind of get in early and look for maybe something that's a little lower priced than your range so that you can use the additional money to do the repairs that you're looking for. In fact, in this HGTV world, that's exactly, we all have a show that we know and love where that's exactly the premise of that show, where they go and they find, what is they say, the worst house in the best neighborhood. And then, at the end of the show, they've created this magical home for people, right?
And it's everything that they want. And had that home been on the market, of course they would have bought it and paid that price for it, but
possibly more too.
That's true.
So that's why I think this is a really good strategy, and it's something that going into it, when you're going to buy your first home or possibly even a move-up home, it's a mindset, and so that's what I want to talk about today is the mindset. So when the first tip and going into a home is understanding, okay, if I want to focus on a fixer-upper, I need to identify how bad is it really?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you need to be prepared to walk in and maybe have a few odors that normally we don't
call
smell.
We call that the smell of money.
The
right?
smell of money,
Because
ka-ching.
everyone else doesn't want it, so you have an opportunity to go in and get it for a great price.
Yeah.
Because no one else wants it.
Yeah, or you walk in and you see carpet that is very, very used. I don't know. I don't know what the right
Like
term is for that.
shag or bright colors.
Or even
just
sometimes
old.
like maybe someone parked their motorcycle
Oh yeah.
in the
that's
front room.
nice.
That can happen
That's
too,
great. Yeah.
right? Sometimes you'll see holes in walls.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see appliances gone. Sometimes, I mean, is there anything else that you've really seen from an agent's perspective that has maybe been a turnoff for people, but you've looked at that and went, oh, we can totally fix this?
Well, I always tell my clients, look for a house that has a problem you can fix. So if the problem is that it is right next to the freeway, you can't do anything about that. But if the problem is, oh, you know what, the master bedroom doesn't have a closet, but there's a little study next to it that you can make a closet, then that's a problem you can fix.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
no one wants a home with a master bedroom without a closet, but if you can fix that problem, great, if you have the funds to do it and if it makes sense to do it. So I love in this conversation saying, how do you find a home that could be what you want, and how do you finance it to get that way? Because a lot of clients come to me and they say, this is our budget, this is what we want to be into it for, but we don't have all the money, cash in pocket, to make these changes.
Right, and being able to answer that question of how bad is it really helps with the lending side too.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking from a lending side to make sure that I have a property that is going to be valued higher once those repairs are done. So that kind of leads us into the next question to ask is it worth it?
Yeah.
And definitely the housing market is super hot right now, especially in those lower price points.
Yeah.
You have to be pre-approved. You have to have a plan before you even go, look at the home. In fact, I'm hearing of offers in certain locations coming in sight unseen.
Oh yeah.
Which is
We see that a
insane.
lot.
So, this strategy, you have to make sure that you know your market and know what it's worth. And so, to me, having that conversation ahead with the agent, and then giving the agent the opportunity to understand what is wrong with the home, can help you as an agent then go back and say, okay, well, I think if we do this, this, and this is what other homes in the neighborhood are selling for. Here's what we need to do to get there. Would you agree with that?
For sure, totally. If you know price per square foot on an average, buying that home that you can put some money into and your price per square foot still makes sense with the changes you want to do, then that's fantastic strategy.
Yeah, and I think one thing to just tell the audience, because this is true whether you're looking to do a refinance and remodel or a purchase and remodel at the same time.
Yeah.
People sometimes feel that you're going to get a dollar per dollar return on the
Right.
money that you invest, and that is not always the case.
True.
And I think that's why it is so important to understand, does it have good bones, and then what repairs do we want to do, and then be working with a professional that can sit down and say, okay, well, this is realistically
Yes, because
what
you and
that's
I,
gonna be.
we're not home inspectors, we're not contractors. We can walk into a home and say, oh, you need carpet, ask someone the price, but it really is important to seek out those professionals, because we can give ideas on what we think, like, oh, it looks like if this had paint and carpet, but you want to get a home inspection so that you understand, oh, actually, the carpet and the flooring has this problem, or whatever. Not the carpet would have a problem, but the flooring needs something extra. And if you have that figured out with the contractor, and you know your budget and you know your expenses, then it could be a really cool opportunity to not only get a house, but get a house you want and the area you want, and maybe end up with a little equity when you're done fixing it up.
Well, and the other thing I was going to say is that sometimes the things that need to be done off of that home inspection can also be negotiated with the seller as part of the contract, and no additional financing necessarily is needed, because it all kind of gets wrapped in with that original contract. So you have options. You have huge options when it comes to this, but the key is you just got to talk to people who know how to do it and what's going on. So the third thing that I think is important to consider is, do I have the time?
Yeah.
Right?
Seriously. Yeah. That's a big one. That is a big one, because it's a lot of time.
It is a lot of time. And I think sometimes we get on Pinterest or Houzz, which are fabulous websites, and we look at what something looks like on, this big of a picture, without realizing that the rest of it looks
Yeah.
totally different, you know, and it does take some time. Sometimes with the loans that we do, you may have to have a contractor actually complete the work. Sometimes you can't do it as a do-it-yourself, and so you have to be aware of that. Now, as far as a contract goes, when you're going into a fixer-upper too, unless the seller agrees to make those repairs as part of the original contract, none of those repairs are going to be done prior to closing.
Right.
Because you as the buyer don't get access to the property until after the loan closes. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's important to think about time, because is it something you can move into and do? You know, is it a one bathroom and you have access to another bathroom? Or are you going to have to live with a friend or family member, stay in your apartment and pay rent? You know, figure out these things as far as time and where you need to be.
Perfect. So number 4, do I have the skills? We kind of touched on this a little bit, and quite honestly, folks, we are here in Utah, which I affectionately call the do-it-yourself state.
Which is great.
Which
a
is
lot
great.
Of times.
We all have many talents, or we all have family members, let's face it, that know somebody that can come in and do something, or Uncle Ernie will come do the roof or whatever, right? But I think going into this type of transaction, it is very important to understand what you can do, and in a timely manner and cost efficiently, and what is best to hire out. So your skill set becomes very important in combination with time and what needs to be done. And finally, our last one is, do I have the drive? Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier today in preparation for this discussion, in that a lot of times you get way excited to go get a house, and then you go out and you look at it and you realize there's some TLC. And that's honestly why most agents will shy away from this strategy, is because they don't necessarily understand you as the client, what your drive is to get the project done and see it through. Because the last thing that you want to do, I'm sure as an agent, is put somebody into something that's not going to give them the return they hope, right?
I want someone to buy a home and be happy. I don't want them to call me and say, I'm worn out, I'm exhausted, and I'm fixing the toilet and doing this and frustrated with it. But I really want them to have the home that they want, and you too. You know, we want our clients to be happy and be excited about their home they're getting, which is why this is an important discussion, because you don't just have to wait on the MLS for a home to pop up and fight over it. You know, there's some alternative ways to go about getting your dream home. Might just take a little bit longer, a little work, but you can still do it.
Well, and I always tease my husband, our first 1, 2, 3 homes that we purchased were all fixer-uppers, just because I'm a sucker for kind of that old style, like an old bungalow, and I love to get in and combine the old with the new. And I always tease my husband, because we never, ever had our projects complete until we listed the house for sale. And then all of a sudden we had this beautiful home, and I'm like, why are we selling this? I just needed something to, I love you, honey, but get the honeydew done, right? So having that drive is really important, and understanding that. So, you know, from a lending perspective, there is a lot of misinformation out there about financing improvements and costs. And so I would counsel you as well to be very careful of the Google, or putting a question out into a Facebook group, because not everyone's experience is exactly the same. And they're gonna quote things to you, or they're gonna tell you different things, which is great and helpful, but quite honestly, it may become a bit of a distraction, and you may not get all of the important information that you need. So, you know, find a good, experienced lender, somebody that has done both the mortgage and, believe it or not, the construction lending.
Would that be you, Amber?
Somebody, you know, that can help you understand if you're financially prepared to go down this path. There are very affordable ways to wrap the cost of improvements into your home purchase. You really just need the right team.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's important.
Yeah. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching. This definitely is a strategy that I hope you can put to use and out in the marketplace. If you have comments or you have more questions, please go ahead and comment below. We're happy to reach out. We do follow our comments. And thanks again for watching. You know, just as a reminder, according to Amber, which is the name of our segment here, but according to Amber, the fixer-up strategy can work in a seller's market. And I just want to put a shout out there that houses don't build communities, you do. Thanks a lot, you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.